What's going on, family? I'm Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Now, this is the second part of the middleweight division conversation. These are world champions from 1937 to the late 1960s. And they passed off the title beginning in September 23, 1937. Fred Apostoli had defeated Marcel Theo in 10 rounds. This fight took place at the New York Polo Grounds in New York. It was known as the Carnival of Champions. And prior to this, July 11, 1936, Eddie Bay Visco had lost to Freddie Steele. The fight took place in Seattle, Washington. That's Freddie Steele's hometown. 15 rounds for the NBA Middleweight Championship. Freddie also had gained the New York State support through Fred Apostoli, had been defeating the Real Crown. And the New York State Athletic Commission then tried to arrange Freddie Steele-Fred Apostoli fight. They wanted to make it an international supremacy, but they failed. An overweight match was arranged, in which Fred Apostoli had came in 1.5 pounds overweight. They did agree to that. January 7th, 1938, he stopped Freddie Steele in the 9th round. Freddie had given the rest, and he claimed the foul. Freddie Steele refused to give Fred Apostoli another chance. Freddie Steele will no longer be the world middleweight champion of the world. July 26, 1938, Al Hastak had knocked out Freddie Steele in 1 round, and he would win the NBA Middleweight Championship belt, Seattle, Washington. November 1st, 1938, Al Hastak had lost the title to Sully Krieger, Seattle, Washington, 15 rounds. So the NBA Middleweight Championship belt. June 27, 1938, Sully Krieger knocks out Al Hastak in 4 rounds in Seattle, and he would gain the NBA Middleweight Championship title. October 2nd, 1939, Fred Apostoli was knocked out by Severino Garcia in 7 rounds. New York's Madison Square Garden. July 19, 1940, Al Hastak knocks out Tony Zale. Well, he was knocked out by Tony Zale in Seattle, Washington in 13 rounds. and Tony Zale would gain the NBA title. And what was amazing about this fight is that Tony Zale had put a vice grip on that title. He selected who he would defend his title against. And he had a very thin line on contenders. Knocked out the Black Murderers Row completely. He turned down Charlie Burley, turned down Holman Williams, turned down Archie Moore, turned down Ezra Charles. They were all middleweights at that time. May 23rd, 1940, Severino Garcia was defeated by Ken Overland. New York's Madison Square Garden, 15 rounds. May 9th, 1941, Billy Seuss had defeated Ken Overland. Madison Square Garden in 15 rounds for the New York version of the world title. November 1941, Billy Seuss voluntarily gave up the title. He wanted to move up to the light heavyweight division. Tony Zale was matched with an outstanding contender. His name was Georgie Abrams. July 26, 1946. He knocked out Rocky Graziano in 6 rounds. Rocky Graziano would be a selected opponent after the war by Tony Zale. Now at this point, Charlie Burley was ranked number 2. Jake LaMotta was ranked number 1. And Tony Zale had leapfrogged over both men to take on Rocky Graziano. Meanwhile, Sugar Ray Robinson would get his shot against Tommy Bell, and he would become the brand new world welterweight champion. He'd be the 5th welterweight champion as a black fighter. July 16, 1947, Rocky Graziano would knock out Tony Zale in Chicago. Knocked him out in 6 rounds, and he would win the middleweight championship crown. June 10, 1948, Tony Zale knocks out Rocky Graziano in 3 rounds. Newark, New Jersey. September 21st, 1948, Marcel Cerdan has stopped Tony Zale at Roosevelt Stadium. Tony Zale was unable to continue, and the referee was Paul Cavalier, and he counts out Tony Zale. Now, February 14th, 1951, Ray Robinson had knocked out Jake LaMotta, 13 rounds. He would become the brand new middleweight champion of the world. Now, Jake LaMotta had knocked out Marcel Cerdan in 10 rounds. I talked about that story in a video with Ray Robinson and Jake LaMotta. July 10th, 1951, Randy Turpin defeats Ray Robinson in London, England. He would become the brand new middleweight champion of the world. But on September 12, 1951, Ray Robinson would stop Randy Turpin, New York's Polo Grounds, in 10 rounds. September 18, 1952, Ray Robinson retires undefeated as champion. An elimination tournament had followed. Randy Turpin, Charlie Hums, Carl Bobo Olsen, and Patty Young. June 9, 1953, Randy Turpin would outpoint Charlie Hums, 15 rounds, and he would become the European middleweight champion. June 19, 1953, Carl Bobo Olsen outpoints Patty Young, 15 rounds in New York, and he would earn the America's middleweight championship title. October 21st, 1953, Carl Bobo Olsen would outpoint Randy Turpin, 15 rounds in New York, and he would become the brand new world middleweight champion. Now, Carl Bobo Olsen would now become universally recognized as the world middleweight champion. December 9th, 1955, Ray Robinson knocks out Carl Bobo Olsen in his 2nd round of Chicago. And Ray Robinson would get that shot when he would make a return go for the middleweight championship of the world. July 2nd, 1957, Gene Fullmer would win the title by decisioning Ray Robinson in 15 rounds in New York. On May 1st, 1957, Ray Robinson had won the title in a fourth round knockout. And I gotta tell you, that was a hell of a fight. He actually stopped Gene Fullmer in the fifth round. And Gene Fullmer had dropped his hand for a split second. He was on his way moving in to try and throw a punch. And he got caught with a beautiful left hook by Ray Robinson as he was backing up. And that would be legend. Now, September 23rd, 1957, Carmen Basilio would win the title on a split decision in 15 rounds from Ray Robinson in New York. But March 25th, 1958, Ray Robinson would once again become the world middleweight champion for the fifth time on a 15-round split decision in Chicago against Carmen Basilio. On August 28th, 1959, when the NBA would vacate Ray Robinson's title, Gene Fullmer and Carl Bobo Olsen would meet at San Francisco. And Gene Fullmer would stop Carmen Basilio in 14 rounds. And he would gain the NBA recognition of the middleweight championship. But January 22nd, 1960, Paul Pender would win the World Middleweight Championship bout in a split decision against Ray Robinson in 15 rounds. This fight which took place in Boston, Massachusetts. And Paul Pender would be recognized by New York and Massachusetts, as well as Europe, as the world champion. But July 11th, 1961, Terry Downs had won the title by stopping Paul Pender after 9 rounds in London, England. And he would now become recognized as the world middleweight champion. But April 7th, 1962, Paul Pender would once again become the world middleweight champion when he would defeat Terry Downs in Boston, Massachusetts, in his hometown. And he would now become the world middleweight champion once again. October 23rd, 1962, Dick Tiger would win the WBA middleweight championship belt on a unanimous 15-round decision over Gene Fullmer in San Francisco, California. And what a fight that was. November 9th, 1962, it was announced that the New York State Athletic Commission and the British Boxing Board of Control and the European Boxing Union had withdrew recognition from Paul Pender and decided to recognize Dick Tiger as the world middleweight champion. November 12th, Paul Pender would file suit in New York, but he would be rejected because he wanted his title back. But unfortunately for Paul Pender, he would lose that case and he would retire from the game of boxing. Dick Tiger and Gene Fullmer boxed 15 rounds. The fight would become a draw in Las Vegas, Nevada. February 23rd, 1963. What was amazing about that particular date, that Dick Tiger and Paul Pender, their fight fell through because Paul Pender decided to announce his retirement. But he announced his retirement as champion. So on May 7th, 1963, Dick Tiger was then given universal recognition as world champion. He clinched his right for that crown when he stopped Gene Fullmer in 7 rounds. The fight took place in Nigeria on August 10th, 1963. December 7th, 1963, a young man from Brooklyn, New York, his name was Joey Giardello, would win the title by outpointing Dick Tiger in New Jersey's Atlantic City in 15 rounds. October 21st, 1965, Dick Tiger of Nigeria would regain his World Middleweight Championship belt when he would decision Joey Giardello at New York's Madison Square Garden, and the announcement would be made after 15 rounds. April 25th, 1966, Emil Griffith would fight in Weehawken, New Jersey. He would defeat Dick Tiger of Nigeria. But that fight would actually take place in New York's Madison Square Garden, 15 rounds. And Griffith would win by decision. He walked into the ring with a weight of 150 and a quarter pounds. And Dick Tiger stepped into the ring, weighing 160 pounds. April 17, 1967, Emil Griffith of New Jersey would lose his middleweight championship crown to Italian's Nino Benvenuti. Emil Griffith stepped into the ring weighing 153.5 pounds. And Nino Benvenuti stepped into the ring weighing 159 pounds. Referee was Mark Kahn. And he would decide that fight would be a unanimous decision in favor of Nino Benvenuti. When Emil Griffith walked into the arena, the entire arena was in favor of Nino Benvenuti. And they booed Emil Griffith. September 29, 1967, Emil Griffith would outpoint Nino Benvenuti. He weighed 159 and a quarter pounds, put on some muscle. And the fight took place at Shea Stadium in Flushing, New York. That's in Queens. The split decision. Tom Walsh had decided that Emil Griffith was the brand new champion. March 4th, 1968, Nino Benvenuti will once again defeat Emil Griffith. Benvenuti weighed 160 pounds and Emil Griffith weighed 154.5 pounds. It would be for the World Middleweight Championship belt. November 7th, 1970, Carlos Monzon of Argentina knocks out Italian's Nino Benvenuti in 12 rounds, and he would now become the World Middleweight Champion. Monzon weighed 159 and 3/4 pounds. Benvenuti weighed 159 and 3/4 pounds as well. The middleweight division would be one of those divisions where you had to know how to punch, you had to know how to move. You needed tools in your toolbox, such as the jab, uppercut. You needed a hook, overhand right or left. You had to know how to move. You needed footwork. But most important, you needed heart and courage. This tradition would last with fighters such as Willie the Worm Monroe, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, fighters such as Carlos Monzon, Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas the Hitman Hearns, Mike the Callum, the Body Snatcher, James Lights Out Tony, Michael Second to None, Kimball Columbe, Bernard the Executioner Hopkins, Felix Tito Trinidad, Roy Jones, Andre Ward, Danny Jacobs, Kid Chocolate, you had some fighters. Gennady Golovkin would then step into the plate. The Charlo brothers. And then you would have Canelo Alvarez. Who would be next? Shout out to the middleweights. Fascinating division. I'm Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. All great fights and all great fighters will never be forgotten on my channel. Thanks for watching. Peace.